This is Robert Martellacci of the MindShare Learning Report, Canada's Learning and Technology e-magazine. Happy New Year, happy 2025, and welcome to another exciting episode of MindShareTV. Today we have a very special guest joining us. A little bit about Mary Howard is a sixth grade teacher in Grand Island, New York. She's nationally board certified and New York State master teacher. Mary teaches science and ELA and is a huge advocate of technology and education. She presented at numerous conferences featuring instructional technology, is active a member of NICEGate, where we met last year, and recently published a book entitled Artificial Intelligence to Streamline Your Teacher Life, the ChatGPT Guide for Teachers. And she's showing us the book. Mary, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Well, let's dive in and explore the challenges of and demystify perhaps AI, because it can be overwhelming to those who are not early adopters. And it's been an exciting time to be in education. We embraced AI. We recently wrote a report on the future of AI in K-12 in Canada. Talk to me about what inspired the book, and why did you feel it was important for teachers to embrace AI tools like ChatGPT?
So it all kind of started in 2022, really, when I first discovered ChatGPT. I have always been one of those kind of ed tech integrators, the early adopters, as you said, someone that gets excited when I see new technology. And as we know, that's not always the norm. A lot of people are like, that's scary, that's new, that's going to change what I do. And so I approached ChatGPT from this lens of like, wow, this is a tool that can truly help teachers. I'm a sixth grade teacher. I'm in the trenches. I'm every day fighting the battles that the other teachers fight in terms of juggling everything. And I had this kind of aha moment. I saw ChatGPT and I was like, this tool could revolutionize what we do in the classroom. It can help lift the load for all these menial tasks that I have to do and allow me to do what I do best, and that's build relationships with kids. And I thought maybe this is the tool that can rescue education. And so I thought it was time to write a book about it.
Congratulations. And I really love the notion of offloading excess workload, reducing your workload, streamlining, creating more efficiencies. And that's my mindset when I'm using a new tool or identifying a new tool that I might use. And I use ChatGPT every day because it helps me streamline my workflow. And so let's talk about you being a teacher yourself, and you share specific example in the book. Perhaps you can share an example or two to entice one of our viewers on how ChatGPT has transformed and streamlined your own teaching practice.
Absolutely. I think for me, the number one thing that I do with ChatGPT is use it to support ideation. So let's say, for example, I'm trying to create a plethora of examples for my students on a certain topic, maybe even if it's just kinetic energy. I teach science. And I can think of one problem or two problems that I can use with my students, but then that's when I can turn to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, could you write me several examples of kinetic energy? I don't have the energy. Can you help me find the energy? And it can write multiple examples, an endless supply of examples. And so that's just, that is not even scratching the surface of what it can do, but it's that ideation for any topic that you're working with that you can turn to and lift that little tiny load.
Brilliant. So some educators might feel hesitant or even intimidated by AI. What would you say to a teacher who's unsure about integrating tools like ChatGPT into their classroom?
A lot of it comes from just start dabbling. It doesn't have to be fully integrated for you to explore and you to just dabble with it. I have a kind of a bookmark here. It's actually a bookmark of these 10 great things that you can do with ChatGPT. So open up the tool. You can't break anything. You can't do anything wrong. And often, like you said, people have this fear of new things, but just go in. Try it. Try one prompt. Ask it to write a rubric for a project that you're doing with students, or ask it to come up with a list of ideas. And that is kind of the hook. Another great example would be emails. We as teachers are constantly writing emails back and forth to parents, and a lot of the language in those emails could be difficult. Maybe we want to make sure we remove
Sure.
tone from the message. Try rewriting an email using ChatGPT. Ask it to take on a tone that's a little bit more polite or respectful. Even that could be an inroad to the tool.
Your book offers practical strategies for teachers. Can you highlight one or two of your favorite use cases for ChatGPT that saves you time or enhances learning for that matter?
Yeah, and honestly, the first one I think of is the one I just mentioned, is use it to write a rubric. Writing
Mhm.
rubrics, anybody has to do it knows they're onerous. Coming up with all your performance indicators, coming up with the categories, coming up with the little descriptors within each category. Knowing that it can do that for you at the touch of a button is a tremendous time saver.
I heard a term today that really resonated with me in how to uh, view AI and it as a thought partner, perhaps.
Yeah.
And that really struck me and resonated with me because I lean on ChatGPT a lot throughout my day. How does that resonate with you?
I like the idea of a thought partner because, with any type of AI, those of us close to it know it's not always correct, and it hallucinates and provides incorrect information. So if we're using it, just know that you don't want to use it as a crutch, and that concept of thought partner, use it to enhance your own thought, use it to facilitate your own thought. Don't use it to replace your thought, because certainly it can be wrong.
Who inspired you along the way when
Oof.
it came to learning technology? Because you embrace that tech. We met at Nice Skate. You're part of that learning community, and you strike me as having the growth mindset. And you're also a hockey official and a hockey player like I am. And you name it. We're right across the border from each other. We're neighbors, and who knows? We might become the 51st state. Apparently,
Oh,
rumor has it.
oh boy.
But talk to me about that growth mindset and who inspired you.
Oh, it's really tough to give a name to who inspired me. I think it was just a series of events, and it all really, and this is going way back, but it really goes way back to you kind of they had Web 2.0 tools emerged onto the scene, and this is going to date me, but
Right,
there's this batch of Web 2.0 tools that came out early on when we were starting to use computers for instructional education. And I went to a few NiceGate sponsored trainings at our local
right.
BOCES. And I think it was my involvement with NiceGate. And when you find like-minded individuals that have the same passion that you do and have that growth mindset, that truly want to revolutionize their instruction and reach and engage learners, you've found your tribe. You've found the people that are drinking from your Kool-Aid, and you're like, okay, these are my people. And that core group of people have been the same ones that have done all of these types of initiatives all these years. Yeah.
And I like that notion of the tribe in finding your community within your school as well, and working alongside of your peers and teaming up. I think that could be really effective in pulling you along with your professional learning. We developed a learning philosophy called the Mindshare mindset, and it's the notion of collaborative learning, informal learning, and inspiring each other to problem solve.
I think going along with that, honestly, that community feel can be found in your online professional learning networks as well. So when I first started, of course, it was Twitter at the time, but so much of my professional development happened through that community of educators. You follow like-minded people on websites and like Twitter or whatever, and you start sharing. And that's still, for me, that's still happening with this Mindshare mindset is, use social media to support that. Don't be a consumer, also be a creator. Share in these social media settings, because that's what helps everybody grow together.
Well said. Speaking of sharing, we're sharing your website. Perhaps you can show us what's available for those of educators who are online looking to learn more. You've got your book, but you also have a newsletter, I believe, and you're an active blogger.
Active blogger, yep. A lot of the, this is an image of the blog here, where you can find the book. So it is available on Amazon. It's also available on Barnes and Noble. And the blog is mostly focused on a lot of next-gen science. That seems to be new for a lot of teachers. So a lot of my blog posts will be about next-gen science, and everything that's developed is pretty much in the interest of supporting educators in the classroom. So from engagement strategies to other types of things. Related to the book, there is a book study guide. If you click on this link, it will take you to a free downloadable book study guide. I've had a lot of people use the book study guide to support them in asynchronous use of the book, like book studies online.
Amazing. You attended Niagara University, as did the new director of education that was recently named yesterday at the Toronto District School Board. How important is it to embrace ongoing learning, whether it's formal or informal? I did my master's at Pepperdine in California. Wish I was there now. Malibu, because a little warmer there, although I do feel for those in LA, and I have many friends down there who are experiencing those fires right now.
I think, continued education in many forms, whether it's just self-driven, whether it's, national board certification. For me, that was an incredible journey of, self-reflection on my pedagogy. It's what drives you to be better. And I do find, I have a full-time career as an educator in my classroom, but I've also carved out this whole second, it's like teaching point, with extra when it comes to, the digital content sharing and selling a book and doing presentations and all of that. And that's important. And it leads to my growth, because whatever I discover to share with other educators is also things that I can take back to enhance my own instruction. And so it's a beautiful cycle.
I was just going to allude to that when you're sharing, when you're presenting, and you're out there, when you're sharing, you're learning from others. And that's so powerful. And that's really, again, the inspiration around the notion of the MindShare mindset is that it's collaborative. And ironically, on my way to graduation, I meet Jerry Seinfeld at Starbucks as I'm about to go convocate. And I had the opportunity to say to him, we studied your movie documentary, Comedian, from a learning theories perspective.
Wow.
And he's like, tell me more about that. And the MindShare mindset model was exactly what comedians do in their tribe, if you will. And it's a collaborative community, and they problem solve together. Isn't that fascinating?
That is fascinating. A lot of what we're talking about right now actually reminds me of something I stumbled across at the last presentation I was putting together. We as educators talk about this concept of pedagogy, right? Pedagogy is teaching. Yet a lot of people don't realize there's a word out there that I think fits what you and I are talking about better, and it's heutagogy. It's H-E-U-T, heutagogy. And heutagogy is self-directed learning. And I had this kind of, this revelation when I found the word, and I was thinking about the word, and isn't that who we are, right? We're self-directed learners, but isn't that really what we prefer our students to be? Pedagogy implies, teacher imparting information onto students. I think we should all be engaged in heutagogy. I think it should be, let's facilitate students to be self-directed learners.
That's brilliant. And I love that notion. And I recently blogged, and I'll pull that up momentarily, on the 7 C's coming of age. It's the upskilling and teaching kids to be problem solvers, critical thinkers, communicators. Storytelling is the rage. And you're going to become your own prompt engineer to figure this out in the future. And talk to me a little bit about those essential skills, as I like to call them, versus, it's not just about technology. It's really, how are you as an individual going to be able to adapt to a future where jobs aren't clearly seen?
Yeah, I think, how are we going to adapt, or how are we as teachers going to change our classrooms to build these people?
Well said.
Yeah, we have to learn to reframe our pedagogy. We have to build a classroom in which they are more, self-directed and self-guided. Once again, wrapping back around to that hudagogy, I can't continue to give worksheets to students where they can search up the answers, and I can't continue to give them writing assignments that AI can generate for them. I have to find ways in my instruction to make them thinkers, period.
You actually taught me a new word today, Mary.
Yay!
Thank you for that. Well, let's talk about, because it's not all, we're embracing AI, but with cautionary measures. Talk to me about the ethics side of the equation when it comes to AI. It's evolving. There are ethical considerations. There's a potential to misuse it, or it impacts on creativity and critical thinking in students' lives as well.
Yeah, and you said it earlier, that idea of being using AI as a thought partner. So in my 6th grade classroom at the beginning of the year, I do address AI ethics head on with the students. I let them know that AI is out there and you're going to be tempted to use it. And I also grant them the grade to use it with a list of kind of cautionary tales. And that is another thing that's available on my website, is kind of this AI ethics guidelines, do's and don'ts, or do nots, I guess you could say. And so I say to the students, yes, you can use AI to support your own thinking and your own learning, but do not use it in order to replace your learning. And you can use AI to, ideate and fact check, but, don't use it to generate the complete content. So that's sort of how I address it in my own classroom. And I think that's where we all have to be. We have to explicitly teach and explicitly explain the do's and don'ts. And I do put AI in the hands of my students. And I think that's another one that people are scared to do. I'm championing teachers using AI, but I also want my students to use it, because until they're using it, you can't teach them how to effectively use it. So I'd rather put it in their hands and show them how to use it than say, don't use it, or don't, just
right.
Training them effective use, I think, is the smartest approach.
Well said. So here's the blog that I wrote recently, Redefining Basics in an AI-Inspired World, Teaching Essential Skills with the 7 C's from C21 Canada. So critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, citizenship, character, computational thinking, and implementing them in schools. It's absolutely critical from my perspective when it comes to being able to navigate the complexities of AI and what we're facing in the future.
Absolutely. Thoughts? Yeah, no, I think it's wonderful, and it's important. We need to make well-rounded humans, but in the end, we need to make well-rounded humans that can think. And I think we're all kind of frightened. Are we going to take away? Is AI going to take away that thought? And
well, thank you for that. Looking ahead, how do you envision AI in education? What role do you think? How do you see it playing and shaping the future of teaching and learning? I started high school, I know, like a lot younger than I am, 50 years ago. I told my kids this past weekend, Dad started high school 50 years ago. 50 years ago, the basement of our high school was a computer. One computer filled the basement. And now I have this that has more processing power than that computer that was in the basement 50 years ago. So care to venture out?
Well, I just
any bold predictions?
Yeah, I just read an article in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend where OpenAI is talking about this singularity, and the singularity is not far away. It is right around the corner, and you have to think, what is that world going to look like for us as humans with the singularity, able to think and do and create everything that a human mind can create. Where does it leave us? And I think that leaves me thinking about, the importance of compassion and the importance of kindness. And,
Well said.
that's something that's so distinctly human that AI can never replace. And that goes right back to my job as a teacher. In the end, AI, go ahead and take away, the problem creation and the lesson plan design and everything else. Only I can say to that student, hey, I'm going to give you a piece of candy if you can get that next problem done, or, it's going to be okay. Just those human things, there's still a place and there's still a role for us. And I think that might be where we're headed.
Very well said. With that, final thoughts, what advice do you have for educators who are just beginning their journey with AI and ChatGPT? Are there any quick wins that they can garner?
Definitely. Yeah. It's not all about ChatGPT. I consider her to be the mothership. She's the API running behind
Right.
a lot of the new tools that are coming out. But check out Magic School, check out DiffIt, check out Goblin Tools. Go out there and find out all these new tools that are being created for educators, because they're overlaid with some very good code by very good computer programmers that are going to make the platforms easy for you to use. At a push of the button, you're going to find materials and resources that can support you without it being scary. So, go out there and search, because there's a lot to be found.
Well said. And another tool I use on a daily basis extensively that helped us design the background image is Canva. And Canva has an AI element.
Yes. In fact, that was one of the things I was going to mention earlier. One of my favorite use cases for ChatGPT is the ideation side of things. Okay, ChatGPT, generate 16 ideas, but then I go over onto Canva and I'm able to use the bulk create feature on Canva to take those 16 ideas and make me 16 beautiful slides, or, a beautiful document or something like that. Canva is a rock star for sure.
Well, with that, thank you so much, Mary, for your time. Such a pleasure, your insights, and to learn so much about what you've done for educators. Your book is truly a game changer, navigating the new digital frontier. Where can listeners, again, find your book and connect with you if they want to learn more and subscribe to your newsletter?
Yes, I can be found at Twitter, or X as we call it. It's Mrs. Howard 118. Is my classroom number. So Mrs. Howard 118 on Twitter. Also on TikTok, which is a platform that I'm finding more and more teachers gravitating towards. So it's Mary Howard 118 on TikTok. And there I share all sorts of instructional strategies, AI ideas, AI tips, and everything else. And of course, the book, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, it's available on both those platforms.
With that, thank you again, Mary Howard, author and educator. My name is Robert Martellacci, the Mindshare Learning Report. Be sure to check out www.mindshare learning to get your latest issue. And until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve steep.